Joel Schumacher is here. In his over 20-year career, he has created such blockbuster films as St. Elmo's Fire, A Time to Kill, and Batman Forever. In 1996, after his second attempt at a Caped Crusader film, Batman and Robin, was released, he decided to step back from Hollywood and make smaller, more personal films. First came 8mm with Nicolas Cage, and then last year's Flawless with Robert De Niro. For his latest film, Tigerland, he has assembled a cast of virtually unknown actors who play recruits training for the Vietnam War. Here is a clip from the film.
When we will ship you out to an outpost 10 miles from here that is known throughout the Army as the second worst place on earth, Tigerland. It is the stateside province of Vietnam, and it is as close to the war as we can make it.
I'm pleased to have Joel Schumacher back at this table. Welcome back.
Great to be back here, Charlie. Thank you for having me.
Tell me about the movie, because, and then I want to talk about why you went from where you did to this kind of film. But first, what is this kind of film?
Tigerland was written by a man named Ross Clavin who lived the experience. He went through basic training in 1971 in Fort Polk, Louisiana, went to Vietnam, fortunately came back alive, became a novelist, and this is his first screenplay, and it's about his experience of basic training. They took a section of Fort Polk and called it Tigerland, and they tried to simulate Vietnam. It's a week of hell before you go into real hell, where they used live ammunition. Some people were hurt and killed. It was as close to the... Yes, I got a letter from a man who had lived this experience also. In fact, all of the barracks life that are shown in the film are from the Polaroids that this man sent me. His best friend stood up in basic training at the wrong time and was cut in half by M16s. They used live ammunition towards the end. It was to get you ready to go into hell. 71, as you know, was a very tumultuous time.
Okay, 16mm, not 35.
No, this is 16mm handheld. Great, brilliant young cinematographer, Matty Libatique, who did Darren Aronofsky's film Pi last year. We were very influenced. There's a famous documentary by Frederick Wiseman called Titicut Follies, which is in a mental institution for the criminally insane. And we use that as our base. You know, as you know, in a standard movie, the camera is set and the actors act to it. In the documentary, the camera's always trying to find who's speaking next, and we did it that style.
What else influenced you in doing it other than Titicut Follies? I mean...
I think the Dogma group of Scandinavian directors, because when I was promoting 8mm in Sweden, we met some of the people that work with them. I did not have the pleasure and privilege of meeting Lars von Trier, but Dogma, even though Lars has admitted it was a publicity stunt part of it too, it's a very pure ethic, and for those in the audience who don't know, it's bare bones filmmaking with natural light, without the use of cosmetics, without the use of special effects or stunt doubles. And this film, Tigerland, was done without makeup and hair, no stunt doubles. The boys are doing everything you see, basically unknown actors, as you said. No trailers, no dressing rooms, no chairs on the set, no cell phones. We're out in the woods and the swamps of a shutdown Air Force base, and they're living boot camp every day.
What did it cost you to make it?
Probably, realistically, right under $7 million.
Yeah, is it hard to get financing for this kind of film?
Yes, but Arnon Milchan, who is a brilliant Israeli, entrepreneur, has big, what, and has done a lot of experimental films in the past, and he's the one who wrote the check and allowed me to make it, so a lot of the credit belongs to him.
Take me back to what happened in terms of Batman and Robin.
Yes.
That made you say, I want to go in a different direction.
Well, you know, when you were kind enough to have me here on Batman Forever, and it was such a huge success, and I had never made a Batman movie before, and that was fun. I had, St. Elmo's Fire and Lost Boys and Flatliners, there had always been a lot of pressure on me to do a sequel, and I always felt there were no sequels. And I thought with Batman, well, we'd had so much success, and people wanted another one, it seemed. We'd try it. Sequels are only made for one reason: to make more money.
Sure.
That's all. There's very little inspiration.
More commercial reason than artistic.
Yes, and by then we had made so much money for the Time Warner corporate assets that the pressure to make more money for the toy manufacturers, the Warner stores, the food franchises, the Kmart, Walmart, McDonald's, everybody and their brother wanted more money. So The box office started to become more important than the movie itself, and I really felt that on the promotional tour, and I needed to... I never planned on being the summer blockbuster king anyway, and it was fun until it wasn't fun anymore, and it was time for me to pull back and go back to just storytelling.
Okay. Is that what you like best about this form? I mean, you're not making the big-time bucks that you used to make either as a director.
No, but I think I'm doing my best work.
You do?
And, well, you know, the more money that's spent on making a film, the more vanilla it has to be because, and it's appropriate, that the people who are writing the check for you to go off and make a $100 million movie are expecting a great deal of asses in a great deal of seats, as they say in Hollywood. That's fair. If you're making a movie for less than $7 million, you can take risks and use unknowns and do things that I've done in the past. You know, St. Elmo's and Lost Boys and Flatliners, even though they became big commercial successes, they were done with relative unknowns at their time for not big budgets. And so that's very comfortable for me.
Are you saying, suppose somebody comes to you, one of the big studios, I assume they know you haven't lost your talent, so therefore they may want you to, if they had a film that you wanted to make, but it was required being a big budget film, are you saying you would absolutely say no?
No, if it was a great film.
Right.
In other words, the fact that it was a guaranteed summer blockbuster, or hoped to be, would not be the reason I would do it. I wouldn't do it for the paycheck.
Yeah. Okay.
Our friend David Geffen says the devil often comes carrying the biggest paycheck.
Take a look at this. This is a clip from Tigerland. This is where Boz, played by Colin Farrell, and Paxton, played by Matthew Davis, meet for the first time. Need I say more? That's it?
No.
All right, roll tape. Here it is.
It's a joke. Forget it. Rolling Boz.
Okay.
This here is Cherry and Claudia, or Claudia and Sherry. I'm not quite sure yet. Ladies, Jim Paxton.
Pleased to make your acquaintance.
Nice to meet you.
Charmed, I'm sure.
Let me buy you ladies a drink.
All right, so you make this film.
Yes.
You're out promoting this film.
Yes. Thanks to you.
Thanks to me and others. But I mean, you've gotten lots of good notice for this. I mean, people are beginning to
probably
comment about
my best reviews ever.
Are you serious? The best ever?
I would say consistently, yeah.
And why do you think that is? I mean, it's not because you're making a noble effort. Either people like the storytelling or don't.
Well, I think the credit belongs to Ross Clavin, who wrote this, because it is not a formulaic product movie.
Yeah.
It isn't a concocted plot. It's out of raw experience that he lived. And so the minute you read the script, it smells and breathes reality. And these young men, I can't say enough about them. For many of them, it's their first film. They are fantastic actors, worked under the worst conditions you could possibly work in, and did a great job.
What do you dream about? What is it you most want to do now that you've achieved the kind of success you have and you're willing to take risks like this?
In work or in life?
In work first.
Well, I have many directors that are my heroes, as I'm sure everyone does, who made some great films a while ago. And you wonder where they are now, why they either aren't working or the films that they're making now do not have the same passion or maybe the same inspiration that the early ones did. My goal as a director is that I haven't even made my best films yet. If critics are saying this is my best film, that makes me feel great, not just for the ego praise, which is nice, but that it means it's like a report card. You know, you're doing better, and now next year I want to do better. And because I don't want to have made my best films in the past. I want to be making them, you know, in the future.
There are people who are going to hear you say this, and you know what they're going to say? They're going to say, you know, Joel is making this turn because he had no choice. They weren't offering him any big budget movies anymore, and therefore he was forced to do this.
Oh no, no, no. I would tell you if that was the truth. You know, if I said they wouldn't give me a job in Hollywood and this is what I had to do. No, I've turned down a lot of. There's a lot of go movies. I've made a lot of money for a lot of people, and I'm proud of that. And I'm proud of all my other movies. There's nothing wrong with Hollywood. I would not have the career.
There's nothing wrong with Hollywood?
Well, I mean, nothing wrong with Hollywood and Hollywood movies as far as I'm concerned.
In other words, you're saying live and let live. It's just not what I want to do?
No, I'm saying that, well, this is also a Hollywood movie. I mean, Fox is, you know, film has to be a menu. And I would do a big budget film again if the story was great and it required the big budget to make it. I mean, thank God David Lean had the money he needed to make Lawrence of Arabia. I mean, you don't want to see the small handheld video version
With
of Lawrence of Arabia.
No, you sure don't. You want the giant expanse.
Yes, but that's also one of the great
epic
stories ever told in film. You know, I mean, it's a brilliant piece of filmmaking and a brilliant piece of storytelling, very complex. So I'm not...
Took him 2 years to make that.
Yeah, I'm not against Hollywood at all. I wouldn't have my career without Hollywood. I mean, I started as a $200 a week costume designer. Dominic Dunn gave me my first job.
I remember that. We told that story when you were
right.
here. The notion of Batman, though, what turned you off about your last experience there?
I felt that the only reason I was making the movie was because I was expected to.
Because you made the other one and it was a sequel and it would last forever.
Yes.
One every several years.
And I think there was a hubris attached to it, too. I think that, you know, I had hit the ball out of the park, and I hate sports analogies, but I just made one. And, you know, I had gone through a series of one success after the other. And I did the two Grishams, which were very big successes. Right. Thank you, God. In between the Batman movies. And, you know, it just, everyone was expecting me to do it. They were throwing a lot of money at me. They were throwing a lot of money at the movie. And I felt that I had pleased a great deal of people with Batman Forever. So I guess I thought it would be easy to do it again.
And it wasn't?
No.
And you were not happy?
I wasn't. It was the hardest job I'd ever had. It had many rewards, and it will be very good to my old age. But I still am offered big budget movies.
This movie about Vietnam is different from other Vietnam movies in what way?
They don't go to Vietnam. It's really not about Vietnam. It looms like Darth Vader somewhere out there in the universe, but it's really about what it would be. I wanted to show the audience what it would be like to be a teenager, because the average age of the American soldier who fought and died in Vietnam was 18 or 19.
Right.
Yanked by the draft, which a lot of people don't even realize existed now, yanked by the draft out of a basic Judeo-Christian society where their church, their synagogue, their school, their parents, their life is being, be a gentleman, don't be violent, be a nice guy, be compassionate. Yanked out of that, now become an unquestioning mass murderer in 8 weeks. And if you don't, we'll kill you. And that's what the movie's really about.
Roll tape. Here's another scene in which Boz disobeys his commander under heavy gunfire.
They're firing in our path! Ceasefire! What the hell's wrong with you? When your men are told to move out, they move out! The M60s were firing directly across our path. They would have cut us in two.
You can see from this it was exciting to do.
For me.
Because?
Well, it's so electric, it's so tangible, you know, it's so visceral. It's not stop and start filmmaking. You know, we're there. We're in that trench with
Anybody
those guys.
get hurt making this movie?
A lot of ticks, a lot of falling down in the woods. No, I don't think anybody had a serious injury, thank God.
Does it have a message?
It's about a reluctant hero. It has many, many messages. I think most of them are very subtle. It's really about a reluctant hero. I think that many times in film, heroes and heroines are so comfortable with being heroes and heroines. It's written for them. They're very comfortable in playing that part. In life, most of the time, we're dragged kicking and screaming to our most noble sides. And what you see in this young man, who's played brilliantly by Colin Farrell, is he has no desire to do the right thing or be a hero, and he does it angrily despite himself, and he does a magnificent job.
Colin Farrell's a young Irish actor, right?
He's from Dublin,
yeah,
and he does a West Texas accent. He took a train across the United States, spent a lot of time with Americans, got to LA, got in a car, drove to West Texas, and got a job on a ranch for 2 weeks with Texans, and does a great job.
It is said that you feel a certain affinity, or some have took note, with Boz, the character. Do you?
Well, I have had a problem with authority all my life. So does he.
No kidding.
I was the kid whose mother had to go to school every month. my poor mother out in Long Island City. May she rest in peace. Yes, I was the kid who got F in conduct. I don't know if they still give marks in conduct anymore, but I got F in conduct because I still have a problem with authority. And when an LA cop stops me in my car, I literally have to talk to myself while he's coming over to the car and say,
calm and do what he says.
just shut up, Joel, take the ticket, don't start, because you might get, you know, the crap kicked out of you.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, I have a problem with authority, which is probably why I'm enjoying making these kind of movies.
Have you been in an analysis, or have you had
Yes.
a lot of therapy?
Yes.
Has it done good things for you?
Yes, absolutely.
It explains why you don't like authority.
Yes. Also, I think
or how not to let it show.
Exactly. I think my rebellion, which many times has led me almost to the grave, has had good sides too. I think that I've always questioned everything. I think analysis was crucial for someone like me because I had tremendous drug and alcohol problems and, you know, a lot of other things, and left home way too early and was on the street way too early and did everything too young. But I'm here.
Yeah, and you survived.
Yes, and I want people to know out there who have those problems you can get past it.
But what do you want to know, back to the question I asked about you, and what is it you want to do for yourself?
As a man?
Yeah.
Okay, now we have to get a little serious.
All right.
Well, my strongest belief is that if you do not strive to be the best human being you can be, you have no defense for privilege. And I work in one of the most privileged businesses in the world, where we are treated like royalty, which means you get assassinated sometimes. But, you know, we're overpaid, we're overprivileged, we're over, you know, promoted, and there are many great people in my industry, and then there are people whose behavior is, I think, appalling. And so, of course, all of the ego, the hubris, the madness, the contagious insanity that runs through the Hollywood community is all within me also. So my role every day is to try to walk the tightrope and not fall into it too much.
What would you do if you were not a movie maker, not a filmmaker?
I think I would go back to school and somehow study human behavior and become some kind of therapist or work. They say that the best shrinks are the crazy people, so I would be a genius then at this. But I'm fascinated with human behavior, and I can just sit for hours in, you know, in an airport or watch people. Woody Allen taught me this great thing when we did Sleeper together, which was the first movie we did when I was doing costumes and sets for him. He would take me into a corner of the Beverly Hills Hotel lobby and just sit very quietly behind a palm tree, and he said, just watch everybody. And, you know, just watch everybody come and go, and you would see some of the most touching and most hilarious moments that you can imagine. I'm fascinated, this sounds so simplistic, but I am fascinated with the concept that we are all so similar and all so different at the same time, and the way the human mind works. So that's what I would study.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Charlie, for having me.
Thank you for joining us. See you next time.